Downloading it, Valerie.
Yeah, mine is too. It takes a while. All right, well, good evening, Farmington Hills. Welcome to the November 10th, 2025 City Council meeting. We begin this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, and in honor of Veterans Day, Julie and Barry McCowan, who are veterans of the Army, if I recall correctly, are going to be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And before we all stand for the pledge, could we have all of our veterans stand so that we could recognize you, please? Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Council members Aldred.
Here.
Bulaware. Here. Bridges.
Here.
Dwyer.
Here.
Knoll.
Here.
And Mayor Rich.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and item 1, approval of the regular session agenda. Is there a motion? Mr. Bridges.
Madam Mayor, I move the council approve the agenda as published.
We have motion and support. This is a regular vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2, proclamation recognizing November 11th, 2025 as Veterans Day.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proclamation Veterans Day, November 11th, 2025. Whereas throughout the course of history, courageous men and women have taken up arms to secure, defend, and maintain the core principles upon which our nation freedoms depend on. Whereas since our nation's founding, more than 41 million men and women have stepped forward to serve their country during a time of peace and time of war and conflict. And whereas the veterans who serve in the military have protected the American way of life and had dedicated themselves to achieving lasting peace throughout the world, and whereas the spirit of freedom remains strong with over 1.3 million men and women on active duty and roughly 800,000 in the reserve forces, which many in harm's way fighting overseas, and whereas as a nation, we are eternally grateful for the noble sacrifices made by our veterans. We honor and respect them for their service. Now, therefore, I, Teresa Rich, Mayor of the City of Farmington Hills, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby recognize our esteemed veterans in acknowledgement of Veterans Day 2025 and urge all residents to pause and reflect this November and throughout the year on the sacrifices of those who have served their country. And receiving the proclamation will be Julie and her husband, Barry. Julie and Barry, come please.
Do you want to say anything?
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, City Council, Mayor, esteemed guests, and fellow service members. We stand before you tonight deeply honored and humbled to accept this proclamation as of our service in Army, National Guard, and Army Reserves. It's with immense gratitude that we, Barry McCowan, and myself, Julie McCowan, share this moment with you all. Serving in the military has been a remarkable journey characterized by challenges, personal growth, camaraderie, and deep responsibility. A little bit about us. We met in 1993 during 63 Bravo training, which is light wheel vehicle mechanic training. That year, Barry was deployed to Korea while I joined a military unit in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. We married in 94. After that, Barry was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and then I ended up serving in Erin and Waverly, Tennessee National Guard units. Then we moved, in 1997, we moved to the first, to Baumholder, Germany. Barry served in the 1st Armored Division. I joined the 7th ARCOM in Kaiserslautern, Germany as part of the reserves. And then we had 2 daughters while we were in Germany, And when our oldest daughter was only 3 weeks old, Barry was deployed to Bosnia and was there for the peacekeeping mission. Following his honorable discharge in 2000, we moved to from Germany to Farmington Hills. We would like to thank all of the military families, our comrades in arms. They taught us the true meaning of teamwork and loyalty. Together, we faced adversity with courage, stood firm in the face of danger, and celebrated triumphs, big and small. The bond we forged will last a lifetime, and we are proud to have served alongside such honorable men and women. We thank the community leaders for recognizing military service and military families. Thank you once again for this incredible honor. We are truly grateful and proud to have served our nation.
Pray for our soldiers.
To acknowledge that Ms. McCowan also serves on our Commission on Aging. So thank you for your continued service to your community. Next item is a proclamation recognizing November 2025 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer death among men and women in the United States and Farmington Hills, Michigan, accounting for more deaths than colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer combined. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control, there were over 4,000 new lung cancer cases from 2018 to 2022, and nearly 2,500 deaths due to lung cancer from 2019 to 2023. And whereas the 5-year survival rate for localized lung cancer is approximately 60%, yet only about 24% of lung cancers are diagnosed at this stage. And whereas lung cancer research is leading to breakthroughs in the identification of genetic alterations associated with lung cancer and in the development of lung cancer treatments, including immunotherapies and targeted therapies. And whereas organizations working in Farmington Hills, such as the American Lung Cancer Screening Initiative and the Women's Lung Cancer Forum, are committed to educating about lung cancer and lung cancer screening and working to increase lung cancer screening rates in Farmington Hills. Now therefore, be it resolved that Teresa Rich, Mayor of the City of Farmington Hills, on behalf of the City Council, does hereby proclaim November 2025 as Lung Cancer Awareness Month in Farmington Hills and encourage all community members to learn about lung cancer and early detection through lung cancer screening. And we have from our DPW department here in Farmington Hills, Brian Pickworth, who will be accepting this.
With us.
So November 1st starts the beginning of Lung Cancer Awareness Month. Lung cancer is still the #1 killer, not just in the USA, but worldwide. More than 226,000 people of all ages, genders, nationalities get this every year, and that's just in the United States. 125,000 of them will die. All it takes to get lung cancer is lungs, nothing else, just lungs. Those who know me know I have been a lung cancer survivor for almost 13 years. I was diagnosed at age 43 with stage 4 adenocarcinoma lung cancer. I just happen to have a rare type of lung cancer that is only found in 2% of the population. I have had chemo, radiation, more chemo. I've also done a clinical trial that targets my rare mutation, which is now an approved treatment in lung cancer today. I have been stable, been on treatments for years, and also off treatment for years. I cannot even count how many CT scans, MRI scans, PET scans I have done over the 13 years, how much blood they have taken from me and given back, how many new conditions I have gotten because of the consequences of lung cancer and its treatments. As the years go on, you can imagine the questions I get asked or told. Some things like, are you sure they got it right? You don't look sick. Is all this treatment worth it? Did you smoke? Or just a "I'm so sorry" look? There are more, but you get the gist. It seems the longer you live, the more it is questioned, but I get that. The statistics are not in my favor. My answers are always, yes, they did get it right. What does sick look like? Yes, as long as my quality of life is good, it'll always be worth it. As for the smoking, I will say again, if you have lungs, you can get lung cancer. We must stop the stigma of lung cancer in order for research to move forward. Radon, pollution, air quality, work environment all play roles in lung cancer. I am telling my story today so you understand the reason I say this, because it's all about educating, advocating, hope, and helping spread the word about lung cancer. It's about why research is so important to me and every cancer patient I've met along the way. Without research, my next treatment might not be available when I need it. Without research and researchers, the 226,000 that get diagnosed will grow, not shrink. Since my diagnosis, I've been able to see 2 more of my kids graduate and get married. I have seen 3 more grandkids born. I've had more wedding anniversaries and gotten to see and meet so many amazing people along the way. That's what research did for me. This year, the DoD research budget cuts in Washington for lung cancer went from $25 million down to $0. Our military, firefighters, and police are all at higher risk for lung cancer, so this is truly not acceptable. So in honor of them, I want to thank you all for hearing my story tonight and for acknowledging that November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. Together, we can all fight lung cancer one city and state at a time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Do you want to do a photo with council? Sure. Okay. Yeah, come on up. Here, you can, oh, signed. You want to come up, council? Yeah, that'd be great. Do you want to hold this? That's beautiful, thank you. Thank you for sharing the story. And we'll put this somewhere in City Hall. Thank you. It's lovely. We'll take it, we'll pass it along so everyone can see it. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. That then takes us to announcements, presentations from city boards, commissions, and public officials. I do not see anyone in the audience, so we will continue on to correspondence. Anyone have correspondence they would like to share this evening? Okay. That then takes us to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine, administrative, or non-controversial by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the items may be removed from the consent agenda for consideration, and it will be read by our Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Number 12, recommended approval of an award of a proposal for occupational health services, including drugs and alcohol testing, to Wells Street Urgent Care of Michigan, PCDBA, Cornwell Health Urgent Care, for a one-year term with the approval extension, CMR 11-25-165. Number 13, recommend approval of a purchase of a mobile data computers for the police department to Dell Technologies, Inc., in the amount of $33,469.34, CMR 11-25-166. Number 14, recommend approval and award for as-needed data network cabling for city buildings to Amcom Incorporated in the estimated amount of $25,000 for a one-year term with extensions, CMR 11-25167. Number 15, recommended approval of purchase of a replacement vehicle with the Department of Communications and Community Engagement to LaFontaine Chrysler Jeep of Lansing in the amount of $40,496, CMR 11-25168. Number 16, recommended approval of City Council study session minutes of October 27, 2025. Number 17, recommended approval of City Council regular session minutes of October 27, 2025. And that concludes the consent agenda items.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 12 through 17 as read by our Mayor Pro Tem.
Support.
We have motion and support. This is a roll call vote.
Council members Bolaware,
Yes.
Bridges,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Aldred,
Yes.
and Mayor Rich.
Yes.
Thank you.
All righty. This then takes us to council member comments and announcements. Anyone? Mr. Aldred.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to pick up on a comment from a resident at the end of our last meeting and during public comment. There's a comment that having public comment right at the very end of the meeting, especially like a very long meeting like we're going to have tonight, makes it hard for sometimes people to staying to the end. It's not always very conducive to residents bringing their comments to us. So I'd like to suggest we do what some other neighboring communities do, which is have a limited amount of time at the beginning of the meeting, nearer the beginning of the meeting, say 20, 30 minutes for public comment, and then if there's additional public comment, to put that at the end. I know that's Livonia, for example, does that, and I think other communities as well. So it's just something I think maybe perhaps we could come back to and discuss at some point in the near future.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? No. Ms. Knoll? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had your hand up. Mr. Bridges? No?
No, I would just like to congratulate Mayor Rich for her reelection, Councilperson Valerie Knowles for her reelection, Councilperson Michael Bridges for his reelection, and our new councilperson Charles Stackman. I think he's out in the audience. If you stand, Charles, and say welcome aboard. Thank you.
And I have comments along a similar note. Thank you very much to the community for re-electing me, as well as my two council colleagues and Mr. Starkman. I'm looking forward to continuing to serve. There has been a little conversation in social media about campaign finance matters, and specifically the fundraising I did during this election cycle. So let me just put a couple things out there. So yes, I raised in the neighborhood of $140,000 for this last election season. And it was raised by about 500 individual contributors. The maximum contribution that a person can give is $1,225. So a person giving a maximum contribution basically contributes less than 1% of what I raised. There was money that was raised by, as you heard, over 500 people. About a third of them live in Farmington Hills. Overall, about a half live or work or worship in our city. 94% of my donors came from within the state of Michigan, and the people that donated outside of the state of Michigan, for the most part, are people I went to school with, my husband went to school with, our relatives, or our mayors in other cities around the country. Some of the chatter that I saw on social media included that the money I received from developers includes some developers who are coming forward this evening to have projects approved. And so I had a conversation with the city attorney about this, and I believe, particularly given the lack of materiality of the amount contributed by these developers, that I am able to impartially consider and vote upon these developments. And so People are allowed free speech, and according to the Supreme Court, that includes campaign contributions. And so I am, everything that I received in campaign contributions are public record. They are on the Oakland County website. If you look for my campaign committee, the easiest way to search is under Teresa. As a last name, it's under Orlasky Rich as opposed to Rich. That's my legal name, and the county requires me to use that name for the finance reports. So wasn't trying to hide anything. Everything is in the open, and so I'm just making everyone aware of that this evening before we begin hearing the substantive matters about to come before us. And then finally, at the last meeting, I mentioned a task force that I was forming in regard to the food insecurity that we are continuing to see and that is continuing to grow within our community. So this Feeding Farmington Hills Task Force met for the first time a week ago Tuesday, 2 weeks ago Tuesday now, and 52 people from the community showed up for this. I invited faith leaders, nonprofit community, education community, community leaders, government leaders, and as I said, 52 people came so that we can do a more comprehensive job of understanding what resources are available in our community. And so you will see that our city website now has a greater and more comprehensive list of resources available for anyone in need, as well as we have so many people who want to help. And that's a beautiful thing. So if you are looking for a way to contribute, whether it is time, talent, or treasure, that is also available information on the city website, and we're partnering with the library as well, and that information is available on the library website too. We're going to have a second meeting of this task force on Monday, the 17th, at Narden Park Church at 2 o'clock, and all are welcome. That then takes us to the city manager update.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to let the public know, of course, the weather today isn't very conducive for it, but our last week for yard waste pickup will be on your regularly scheduled day, the week of December 8th through December 12th. I encourage folks that are confused about our yard waste pickup standards, perhaps refresh their memory on the city's website. As mentioned, tomorrow is Veterans Day. I'd like to thank all of our veterans for their service and their commitment to this country. And lastly, with the election last week, Councilman Bruce lost his election efforts for the mayor. Congratulate the mayor and congratulate all the council folks for a successful campaign that was run. But I also wanted to thank Councilman Bruce for all of his years of service here at the city of Farmington Hills, not just on city council, but on planning commission as well. And so Randy, if you're watching, and if you're not, I understand, get your Monday nights back, but thank you very much for your service. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Make a
you.
comment too as well.
Sure.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank Councilmember Bruce for serving on city council for almost 20 years, in 2003, I think it was, he served on council. And also was a ZBA member for many years, chairman as well. And I want to thank him for his service to the community of Farmington Hills. And like the city manager stated, he have his Mondays back now. So, but we want to thank you, Councilman Bruce, for your service to Farmington Hills. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This then takes us to item 4, public hearing and consideration of cluster site plan 54-4-2025, Forest at Riverwalk, south side of Folsom Road between Parker Avenue and Lundy Drive, CMR 11-25-158. And so in terms of process, how this goes, we will get a presentation, and as this is a public hearing, we'll allow council questions, then the public hearing, and then council will come back and deliberate. So, good evening.
Good evening. Charmaine Kettler-Schmaltz, Director of Planning Community Development, to intro the item.
We've got before you this evening the project called Forest at Riverwalk. It is located off of Folsom Road. We've got the zoning showed up on the screen and an aerial of the property site. The proposal is for 33 single-family homes within a cluster site plan development. This has been reviewed before the Planning Commission and recommended to City Council as the plan is presented. We've got Giffords Webster to give a more detailed review of the request, and then we also have the applicant in the audience to present and give any answers to questions the council might have before the public hearing, which is scheduled for tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Joe Tangari from Giffords Webster to give you a little bit more detailed information on the project.
Thank you, Charmaine. Yes, so we're looking at 16.3 acres. 2.47 acres of that is right-of-way, so that leaves a net 13.8 acres that we're looking at here. As Charmaine noted, they are proposing 33 clustered units on this property, which is all or parts of 16 different parcels. The, excuse me. The Planning Commission qualified this for a cluster. There are two options for qualification. One is lower density and one is higher density. They qualified it at the lower density number. That would permit about 42 units. They're proposing 33. For your reference, that comes out to 2.38 units per acre. In the RA3 district where this is located, the minimum lot size is 12,500 square feet, and that is 3.48 units per acre. So this is actually a lower density plan than would be permitted by right. There's a lot of stuff going on here with natural areas, woodlands, wetlands. So they are clustering the units in a smaller portion of the site rather than spreading them over the entire site. Moving through the review, we find that each of the units that is proposed here is capable of generally meeting the setback requirements of the district. They do have a slight reduction in the front and side setbacks for each of these units from 30 to 25 on the front and from 8 to 5 on the sides. And the smallest lot here is 7,900 or 7,795 square feet, as opposed to that 12,500 square foot lot size that would be typical in the district. And the typical lot width is 55 feet as opposed to 80 feet, that which would be typical standard development in the RA3 district. We did note that they have some numbers to update on their tree removal plan. And finally, the landscaping transition buffer around the edge of the site does have to be approved by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did take a look at that and did find that it met the spirit of the buffering requirement. And if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions before we go to the public hearing?
Wait, are we having the
Oh, I'm sorry, we haven't
developer?
heard from the developer.
Right,
Yep.
yeah.
Go ahead, next, please.
Madam Mayor, just one. Yeah. Madam Mayor, just a question for, actually, Joe. Can I have a question for Giffords Webster?
John has a question for you.
Just on that, thank you, Joe. So, on that chart you just showed there with the wetlands, I think there's a description of hydric soils in that area. It's a bit hard to tell from the diagram, but it's right where the road is going to come out. I wonder if you could just comment on the difference between the hydric soils and wetlands in that side lot to Parker. Just describe what the nature of that land is.
Sure. So a wetland is actual land where there isn't always water on the surface necessarily, but water will be on the surface
Yeah.
at times. Hydric soils is underground. There's not really a restriction on developing in hydric soils, although there are some engineering challenges to it sometimes, depending on how much saturation of the soil there is.
Okay.
To do any work in a wetland, if the wetland is a regulated wetland under state law, you do need an Eagle permit. They have obtained that Eagle permit.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And we'll hear from the proponent.
No, I've got my notes. That's good. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Appreciate the opportunity to bring this to you. George Major, and my name is Stuart Michelson, and I just wanted to give you a little background. First of all, we have developed many communities in Farmington Hills very successfully, and we've dealt with your staff and everybody before. We purchased, in August of 2023, we purchased the Forest at Riverwalk property, which is a collection of 16 separate smaller parcels. Our goal was to create a small residential community like the other communities we have developed in the area while preserving much of the wetlands and avoiding any negative impact on the river that's there. We could have gone straight through to Colfax, cross the river. We decided to go to Parker with the road, the second access. So in order to do this, we had to request the cluster zoning, which gives us the reduced size lots. And that way we didn't have to go into the wetlands more and into the river, cross the river with a road. So in October of '23, we applied to the Planning Commission to receive this determination and for the development of the cluster. At a Planning Commission meeting on November 16th, 2023, the Planning Commission determined that the proposed development qualified for the cluster zoning. On January 18th, 2024, Riverwalk applied to the Planning Commission for another determination. The reason for the second one was the first one that they approved wasn't a public hearing, and it needed to be a public hearing. So the second one was a public hearing, and again, we were approved. At a Planning Commission meeting, we had proposed originally 38 lots. And so after the Planning Commission again determined that the proposed development qualified for cluster zoning, the number of lots was less than the 41 originally allowed in the cluster zoning section of the zoning ordinance. So after further discussion, the site plan and recognizing the large area of wetlands, the Planning Commission deferred further discussion of the site plan, and at that time they requested we go to Eagle for our wetlands permit first before they would approve the site plan, which is kind of not the way it's usually done, but we did it. So on February 22nd, 2024, Riverwalk, we went through the wetlands consultant. We had our consultant named Bar Engineering, who met with Robert Primo from Eagle and to discuss the proposed site plan, which contained the 38 lots. On July 15th, 2024, Riverwalk applied to Eagle for the permit and to construct the certain development improvements on the wetlands areas. After receiving the application, Eagle provided a period of public comment on the proposed plan for the September 6, 2024 to September 26, 2024. So Eagle forwarded the public comments to us for review and response. So we reviewed the concerns stated in the comments with Eagle and agreed to certain limitations. and modifications to address some of these concerns. The site plan as part of the approved wetlands permits includes only 33 lots. And that's because they took away 2 of the lots, which was considered wetlands. So we agreed to reduce that amount and make it a wetlands designated area. And that was lots 13 and 14 on your, it would have been lots 13 and 14. So Riverwalk has agreed to grant a conservation easement also to the Michigan Department of Environment, which is Eagle, Great Lakes and Energy, covering 4.0226 acres, not including areas within the wetlands which will be preserved for walking paths. And that's that area behind, on the right side of the site plan. So we have almost 40, we also have almost 40% of the land is open space. 15% is required, so we're way over that amount. One of the requirements that Eagle had was we needed to hire a herpetologist so that they, because assuming there's critters running around, we would have them remove the critters, relocate them. And it was approved by Eagle, the company we hired, which is HRL. So we've agreed with everything, and they agreed to issue the permit. So there's also a small amount of wetlands that we have to mitigate, which we're agreeing to do. And that's 0.325 acres of forested wetland acquired. So we're going to have to pay for acquiring credits of 0.66 acres of forested wetland from an Eagle-approved wetland mitigation bank. And that's all part of the requirements. We could get into more, but if you have any questions, we could maybe wait and listen to whatever questions you may have on, or listen,
Mr. Bridges?
And by the way, I also want to mention, we brought our engineer to explain the drainage system, how that's going to work, because we're very careful to be sure that all of our sites, and we've always done this, are self-contained, so that any drainage on our land goes into our detention and out to the storm and outlets. So it doesn't interrupt with any neighbors. That's very important.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on, thank you for your presentation. I wanted just to ask the planning consultant, that they take a look at the proposal in regards to the drainage issue, and maybe the Public Works Director can also talk about, will this project satisfy that situation, meaning make the situation worse or better in regards to the water and drainage issues that the residents have concerns about. You said that your project will actually not add to the problem. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I actually have Evan Priest, he's a registered engineer, and he can speak to the system better than I could.
All right, appreciate that. I think that's an important point regarding
Very important.
residents' concern.
It came up at the Planning Commission meeting also.
Thank you.
And we addressed it there.
All right, thank you.
Which is, of course, a legitimate question to come up in any kind of development like this. We're going to create more impervious area here, obviously, by building roads and homes. We have to take care of it. We have to contain it on site. We're going to run a storm sewer lines up the east property line and up the west property line, the entire way where you see those lots backing up to the adjacent properties. There will be a catch basin every other lot line. Those catch basins will be set well below the grade at the property line. So we intend to intercept all the runoff coming onto the development piece from outside, in addition to preventing the runoff from going off of the property where it otherwise would. And we'll take that down to the detention basin, where it will sit at for a time actually longer than what would normally be required, because we think it's worth oversizing the pond in a case like this. And we will allow that runoff to outlet at a rate, I think it was about 60% of what is normally allowed for such a pond. And we have to comply with Oakland County's stormwater management requirements, as well as the city's. Should either of them be more restrictive, we will be complying with those, and that'll be subject certainly to the review of the city's engineering department.
Thank you. So you're setting aside, at your proposal, that the requirement is 15% for open space. You're setting aside 40%, approximately?
Over 40%.
And there was another question in regards to the public access road that will be installed there. How close would that road be to the neighboring house?
Well, if you look at it, there is one home on that road that was built right at the property line.
Okay.
So we did plant trees on our landscape plan, but we can't do anything about that. The house was built many years ago.
So that's, won't be anything you can do in regards to, how close would it be to the home? How close would it be to that home, the road
Only
itself?
about 12 feet?
It's 15 feet, 20 feet?
Yeah.
The road itself is about 20 feet,
Yes.
and the house is located within a foot of the actual property line, their property line.
Their property line.
So we do have a difference about 20 feet to the road, and we have some trees that are planted in there. Frankly, we could add an arborvitae screen or something like that if that would help.
Could you speak into the microphone, please? We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. It's about 20 feet from the actual road itself to the house, which is about a foot from its own property line and ours. And we do have trees, street trees planned in our landscape plan along there, but we could also add some additional screening, arborvitae, something like that, in that area of the road, if it would help privacy for that particular owner.
I would appreciate if you would consider doing that in order to,
Okay, ma'am, you'll have your time to talk.
I appreciate you. Okay. I think the council would support you doing that in order to reduce that particular proximity issue there with the road there.
We tried to, and you can see how the road pushes to the south a little bit there. We tried to move the road over as far as we could from that particular lot, but we had limitations on the other side because of the wetlands.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions before we open the hearing?
Wait till after the hearing.
All right. So I have a stack of cards. Anybody who wishes to speak on this particular item, please do. Submit a blue card, indicate that you want to talk about agenda item 4, and give it to the clerk. I'm going to read these off in the order in which they were handed to me. So I have Barbara Siebel first, to be followed by Mark Wojciech, to be followed by Michael Williams. And if you could come to the microphone, please. And I see a lot of new people to our meeting, so just in terms of the protocol, every person coming to the hearing has 3 minutes to speak. You'll see we have a timer set. We do not interrupt the speaker, and this is not a dialogue back and forth. This is the opportunity for the speaker to say whatever it is they want to say during their 3 minutes. So, thank you, Ms.
Before you start the clock, I want their time.
So, Ms. Siebel, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to start off by, my name is Barbara. My husband just died a couple of months ago. He was a veteran of the Air Force. We've been married for 61 years, and we've lived in our home that nobody seems to care about for 57 years. And that's where they're planning on putting the road, even closer than what I dreamt, 20 feet. My bedroom is right there. All 3 of my bedrooms in my home are going to be right next to that road. It's going to be an impact that's just going to be horrific, absolutely horrific to deal with. The sounds, the fear, especially with the loss of my husband. I now live alone, so it's going to be terrifying to me, let alone if he was still alive, it would be still. I understand nobody wants to talk about animals here, so I'm not going to talk too much, except what the hell's wrong with you that you don't like animals, for gosh sakes? We feed them if we can. We've tried to take care of them. We're careful that they don't get hurt. Give me a break. We have 5 sump pumps in our home right now. We had to have an engineer's septic field put in, I don't know how many years ago, maybe a dozen, maybe 15. If I sound angry, I am, because this is the love of my life. My husband did everything in that house, and everything in there reminds me of him. How dare they build something 20 feet from my house? 20 feet. And they're complaining because some of it was on their property. By rights, we've taken care of those properties. So by rights, we should have that property if there is such a thing as 20 feet. By the way, on their homes that they're talking about, 33 homes are putting in, we barely have 33 homes on our whole block. So don't tell me that they're doing us any favor. What are they going to do for us when our houses flood? I have 5 pumps that I have to maintain. I don't even know how to take care of them since my husband died. So don't tell me about some of these issues and tell me that I can't talk more than 3 friggin' minutes. For God Almighty's sakes, have a heart. We love this place. We've raised our children there, and they're gonna ruin it with 33 houses, more than we have on our block. Picture it for a moment. Come and see us. We all love each other. We all take care. We still borrow sugar from each other, for God's sakes. Have some decency and listen to us. We are the people. We are what making you, that's why all of you are sitting up there. We are making you successful. So please, take the time. And for Jesus Christ himself, I pray, amen.
And there's a lot of emotion in the room and a lot of strong feelings in the room. Our condolences to you, Ms. Siebold, as was shared when we came to your home. So as a protocol matter, we do not applaud, we do not talk during public comment. We're respectful of each other. So if we could observe that, please, that would be wonderful. Okay, Mark Woderwitz, to be followed by Michael Williams, and then Margaret Cara.
Good evening. I'm Mark Boydovich. I'm a resident on Robinson Street. It's 1 block south of Colfax. So this development may not affect me directly because my home does not neighbor it, but I am a resident of the neighborhood, have been for about 20 years. The main reason that we like this neighborhood is because of all the green space, all of the nature. The lot that I'm on is on 2 of the 4 sides, open space. There's a stream that runs through those 2 lots. Across the street, that was a lot that was designated as wetlands. About 5 years ago, the owner tried to build on it. They were restricted because it was wetlands, but somehow managed to build on it anyways. We ran into a problem a few months later where our basement had been dry, but then once that got built, we had problems where the sump pump was running every 15 to 20 minutes, where it had never run before. Not a huge deal, but it's something to be aware of when development is done. There are changes, and you know, that's something that people will have to adapt to if the development does go in. Personally, I'm opposed to the development, mainly because of the loss of green space in the neighborhood. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Michael Williams to be followed by Margaret Kaza to be followed by Tom Progar.
Hi. So I watched the last meeting, and I understand that this is kind of pointless. I mean, there's nothing you're going to do. Last time there was absolutely no response, you know, like nothing. I mean, I just understand that it's not really about what the community wants. It's not really about what's good and imaginative for the future. It's not what's going to enrich Farmington Hills. I mean, it's gonna be torn down for the soulless people to just get money. And that's what it feels like. I mean, I know that, like when I watched the last tape, there was a master plan for Farmington to develop all the undeveloped spaces. I think that's short-sighted, and I think it's a bleak look for the future. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that there's much better ways you could use this space, much more educational, preservation. I don't understand, like, some of the map, like, it is on wetlands to the left there. There's a lot there, and I just don't think that people have been in the space, and I don't think people understand the space. And I don't feel like we're gonna get much with this. So, thank you for not hearing us.
Thank you. Margaret Kaza to be followed by Tom Progar.
Hi, I'm Margaret Kaza. I live right next to Barb on Parker. My concerns are the water, the retention afterwards. My backyard, it kind of dips down because in the spring, when the water, snow melts and the woods, there's a lot of water back there. And it gets really flush. Across the street, my neighbor, they've got a 200-year-old tree that is half dead because of the marsh and the wetlands right next to them. So that tree is going to probably eventually, half of it's dead, half of it's alive. I worry about that. Where's this water going to go? If it's killing a tree that's 200 years old because of the root system, what's it going to do to our backyards? That's what my big concern is. I don't have sump pumps because I'm on a slab, but I worry about everybody else in this room that run sump pumps 24/7. That is my big concern. The animals, love them dearly. If they're going to relocate, I don't know how they relocate reptiles because they don't, according to history, do not move easily. But, and just being so close to Barb's driveway or her bedrooms, that worries me. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Progar to be followed by Michelle Gala.
Hello, my name is Tom Progar. I live on Flanders in Farmington Hills. I want to begin by thanking the council members and the mayor who took the time out of their busy schedule to visit the property. I would like to mention that most of you viewed the site from Parker Street, but I would like to point out that residents on Lundy, most of them have smaller backyards, so the impact on those homes would be even more intrusive. I sincerely hope this development is voted down entirely, but among the city council members who toured the site, there seemed to be agreement that a roadway should not be directed out onto Parker. Please don't pull the rug out from under us on this issue, and please force changes to the existing plans. I recently received emails from council members who were not aware this project was even being voted on tonight's agenda a few days ago. This was surprising to me as this development would negatively affect the quality of life of hundreds of residents. Here are some core concerns. The proposed development are two-story homes on smaller lots, while most homes in the neighborhood are one-story on larger lots. New developments are supposed to fit the character of the current neighborhood. This proposal does not do that. Secondly, the project requires cutting down 600 trees. Farmington Hills is already 99% developed. Our last remaining trees are priceless. The site contains wetlands and wildlife habitat that residents value deeply and do not want bulldozed. Plus, there are just so many more locations for development or redevelopment in the city. The developer, Stuart Michelson, has made a large donation to the newly re-elected mayor's campaign. Based on public records, Stuart Michelson lives in Birmingham. Why would a Birmingham resident make a large donation in Farmington Hills election? Is he trying to buy favors? I hope he addresses his reasoning. You can vote this down tonight. You have precedent. The City Council recently voted down the development at 13 Mile and Middle Belt for similar reasons. People moved to Farmington Hills because of rural character, open spaces, wooded lots, and we want to keep this as well. With a little imagination, this council can preserve this land as a nature trail for future generations to enjoy. Preservation grants are available. This property has been proposed development multiple times over the past 20 years, and each time it was denied. We ask you to deny this project once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle Gala, followed by George Wright.
Hi, I'm Michelle Ann Parker, and I know most of you have been out, and I appreciate the time you guys spent from your schedule to come out and listen to all of our concerns. Tonight, I want to speak for a voice we lost. Tom Siebold and his wife are the first house next to the road. Sadly, Tom passed away unexpectedly a few months ago. I'd like to read a couple of things he said at the last meeting before his passing. My name is Tom Siebold. I'm on Parker Street, right where the road comes out. I am the first house where the lowest part of Parker Street. That's why we have a creek that runs through there. It's a watershed. Water washed out the road where the stream runs through because there's not enough drainage to take the water from the marsh to the street to the development. The water goes over the street and floods everybody. I have several sump pumps. I use a battery-driven converter around my pumps when we lose power. My bedroom window will be 15 feet from the road. Even at 15 feet, at my age, I can throw a rock, a baseball, or anything 15 feet is not a long way. I can see for 15 feet. This is going to be a little disruptive. Now, I checked this morning, and I measured it. Her house is actually 10 feet from the property line, not 20 feet or anything. And to give you an example of 10 feet, a Ford Escape is 15 feet long. So just so you have in your mentally how far 10 and 15 feet. He went on to say that we asked the city years ago to put in a couple stop signs on Parker Street to slow the traffic down because there are no stop signs from Parker Street to Folsom all the way to 8 Mile. So we have kind of a racetrack. The city couldn't accommodate us at that time. He then went around talking about the history in the rural feel. Now, some of you experienced the speeding down our street firsthand, because I know the mayor almost got hit. So I'd like to say to the Planning Commission that we should have a traffic study, is what he suggested at the time. I haven't seen the traffic study. I don't know if you guys have a traffic study, because we're concerned about the 60 cars. Parker is a very narrow road with the width of what's the width of this new street? You know, they haven't told us there's 20 to 28. I've seen ranges, some cities require even wider streets. Also, the tree study he's using, we've noted several times at the last meeting, then even the chair shouted out that, oh, it's a new tree study. Well, some of you saw the tags on trees that were dead that are back there. We have pictures of the tree tags that are grown into the bark. So it's not an accurate study of what is being cut down and what is there. And lastly, we all do have a problem with him making these donations to people who are running for election. It's not fair to us. We we deserve better, you know? And like I've told you guys, all that have been out, and you've heard from every single one of us, it's a water issue. It's a water issue now that the marsh comes over. He's saying we're self-contained. That doesn't help us.
Thank you. George Wright to be followed by Joseph Tomzak. Good evening.
Thank you. In regard to Lundy Woods, the building proposal, we would like to make the following 4 points. And I use the word "we," it includes my wife. She'd be here if she could. She's unable to be here this evening. As many comments at previous public meetings have shown, we and many others that we know on Lundy and nearby streets would prefer to see Lundy Woods preserved in its natural state. This land contains wildlife, wetlands, trails, and mature oak, maple, and beech trees, much like Heritage Park. The second point, in the early 1980s, the city worked thoughtfully and creatively under the leadership of Bill Kostick, city manager, and Doug Gaynor, director of Parks and Rec, now Special Services, to apply for grants, work with the state of Michigan, the Spicer family, and raise the funds necessary to save 211 acres at Heritage Park, a precious treasure in this city. Let that sink in. The third point. Today, the city has the opportunity to protect another unique landscape for present and future generations. Lundy Woods is the last large parcel of its kind remaining in this city, especially in the area south of M5. And the last point, we hope that every funding mechanism available is explored for potential use to bring the owner and the city together to creatively find the means necessary to buy and maintain this uniquely wooded land for present and future generations. Other projects in the hills to save open and wooded land were successful because the city was able to work with the parties involved to help make Farmington Hills what it is today. Examples are, in addition to Heritage Park, the city golf course, Founder Sports Park, and Woodland Hills Nature Park. Every one of them took creative work on the part of the city council, the citizens, the people who owned the land, everybody working together to save these parcels. We hope that efforts can be made to include Lundy Woods in this list of treasures in Farmington Hills. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Joseph Tomzak to be followed by Kimberly Corona.
Good evening, Mayor and honorable council members.
Good evening.
I've lived in the neighborhood on Robinson Street for 34 years. And the brand new home I purchased there has been leaking ever since. It's a dynamic area. The hydronics of that groundwater that's there at any given time are changeable. And I'm not here to question your efforts as a community. I know some of the folks on your staff in the building, planning, engineering, and I've worked with some of them during my tenure at the city of Southfield. And so basically, what I'm cautioning you on, I'm not trying to do your job. I'm suggesting that you have third-party inspections and that you sharpen up your pencils on this drainage plan. And I think that in the density as well, you have a small cluster group to the east. And it's a no outlet street. So what I'm trying to say is adjacent communities have been, there's been sizable lawsuits performed to the city, suing the city, the homeowners suing the contractor, the contractor suing the city because they approved it and it failed, and the whole subdivision had to be removed. And there are at least 2 of these situations and more. And so I'm suggesting, I mean, it's hard to stop someone from gainful employment and development. However, in this case, it's a large piece of property. I've seen that road on Parker flood numerous times. Many people have water issues. You've got to do, it has to really have a more definitive plan, make sure that it's correct and it meets with all the requirements of the state of Michigan, and it satisfies your staff and engineering and water department. And that's what I'm suggesting. The density, it's not in character with the surrounding community. As you know, there's single-family homes. It's incredible that you would try to fit that many buildings in that small of an area. I don't know how police and fire can get in there with the width of the street. It's at a minimal parking, etc. So I suggest that before you approve something like this, that you make sure you've gone through everything. And last but not least, a community study.
Thank you.
A lot of people are passionate about this. If we could just investigate it further with a community study. Thank you.
Kimberly Corona to be followed by Steve Hall. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Corona. I live on Flanders Street in Farmington Hills. Good evening, Mayor Rich and Farmington Hills City Council members. Thank you for the service that you do for the city of Farmington Hills. I really enjoy living in this community. I love the rural feel. I appreciate our beautiful heritage park, and I thank you for all the work that you do to make this a beautiful place to live. I'm here this evening because I am sincerely concerned about the proposed project on Folsom Road. This wooded area is home to 600 trees, wetlands, endangered species, and it is the natural habitat of many wildlife. I live close to the woods that have been clear-cut just east of Farmington Road and north of Colfax. I used to walk the trail in that back area, and me and my neighbors are devastated that this area has been cut down. It was a special natural place, and now it's gone. I don't want the residents near Folsom Road to have the same experience of the loss of the natural area near them, the way that my neighbors and I lost our natural space that was near us. I talked to a couple of the residents who have lived next to the wild space for decades, and they moved there because of its beauty. It is unfair to these residents to develop this area because it is right up against their backyard. This development will be devastating to these residents. I can imagine all the construction happening right behind their homes, and they have these new 2-story houses that will not match the aesthetic of the current neighborhood built beside their single-story homes. I previously addressed this council to express my opposition to the deer call and said that we have to coexist with deer, and one of the reasons that we see them more often is because their habitat is being destroyed. This is another example of natural space that will be cut down, pushing deer out of their homes and into residents' yards and into the roads. The natural area near me was also home to the deer, and now those deer are being pushed out as well. During the discussions about the deer, there were many arguments that were made about how the deer have to be killed because they are destroying our natural landscape. If this development is proved, we are decimating one of the last natural spaces as humans. How can we blame the deer for eating the natural land and then consider the complete destruction of the woods on Folsom Road? On a global level, the irony is not lost on me that we are having these discussions at the very same time that the United Nations is holding the Global Conference on Climate Change, COP30. While the United States is not there, every community who's concerned about climate change which is one of the most pressing issues of our time, can take actions that either mitigate rapid climate change or accelerate it. Cutting down 600 trees will accelerate it. Our local community can work to protect these trees and take a local action at mitigating climate change. Please protect these woods for the current residents, for the ecosystem, to mitigate climate change, and for the wild animals. I strongly urge you to vote against this project, and please make it a preserved area that everyone can enjoy for its natural beauty. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Steve Hall to be followed by Neil Krantz. Okay? Were you Mr. Hall? Okay. Neil Krantz to be followed by Tammy Trinka. Sorry? Okay. Tammy Trinka to be followed by Christine Tomlinson.
Hi. First, let me say I'm not good at public speaking, so I'm super nervous, but just want to say that I have lived on Lundy Street for over 25 years. In that time, we've had to put a whole home generator on our house because our sump pump runs continuously. Our property sits below the proposed grade. So I'm not sure how, when they talk about this water, how is this water going to go uphill off my property? It's all going to drain down. When they destroyed or removed 600 trees, do you know how much water one tree consumes in a year? A mature tree can consume up to 40,000 gallons of water. They're going to remove 600. What will that do to the water table? Our water table is already so high. Like our backyard, we can't even walk to the back. You can't cut, you know, in the spring. The whole front of that property in the woods, you can't walk any part of that in the spring. It's wet. It's super wet. So when you remove all these trees, what's going to happen to all this water? That little retention pond, no way can handle all of this water. I mean, like I said, we have a whole home sump pump or generator that we had to put on. Our sump pump runs all year round. At least once an hour, it runs. All winter, it just continually runs. So what is our recourse if you vote for this and our property floods and our basements flood? I mean, somebody talked about suing the city. I mean, I'm not looking to sue the city. I've lived in Farmington Hills my entire life. My children graduated from high school here. I graduated from this high school. So what recourse do we have if this doesn't go well? Once it's approved and it's done, it's done. You can't undo it. And that's the biggest problem, is you cannot undo what you've done. So please, please consider us in our homes, our loyalty to the city. As most everyone's saying, how long they have lived in this community, in this little area, the aesthetics that we have. I will have 2 homes towering me. We live in a ranch. There will be 2 homes in my backyard towering because we're already lower. Vote for it as though it was your backyard. It was your home that has sump pumps that run, that you have whole home generators running to make sure your property doesn't flood. So when you cast your vote, just think about that. Be us, you know, and think about us as loyal residents to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Christine Tomlinson to be followed by Kirk Bowman.
Hello. I just want to say, first of all, congratulations, Teresa, on your reelection. And I want to address the resident. I live on Cadillac Street at the end before the new development, which is the same development company that these people are dealing with, and they're right around the corner from us. So I want to address those people as much as I want to address the city council. This company does not fulfill their promises. They promised us so much stuff. They said that they were going to leave sections of hardwoods, and they didn't. They completely raped the entire woods and left no standing hardwoods at all. They said that
that they were going to leave a 35-foot buffer of trees between our properties, and they didn't. In fact, we're lucky if we even got 10 feet. And then I fought with them on that for the next 2 years and fought with the city, and they finally agreed to plant more trees there, and a couple years later, they all died because nobody took care of them. And then they said they weren't going to touch the creek, and no, they didn't touch the creek. What they did is just paved right over. They put a culvert in and paved over it. And they said that, oh, they said, don't worry, because we had wetlands on our property too. And they said, don't worry about that. You know, we're putting in the drainage areas. So they put in 2 big drainage areas, and our property still floods. It floods every spring with our sump pump constantly going to, and there's been a couple of years where we can't even walk in our backyard until like the middle of June. So that water, like the former speaker said, the trees absorb the water into the trees all the way up to the top, and where all this water goes, you know, being replaced with all that concrete, I feel sorry for these people. And the same company built 33 homes next to us, and then they tore down the Flanders School and built another 33 homes there. And now they're doing 33 more homes. That's 99 homes, all within a half mile of each other. So this company just continues to take every last bit of land in our area within a half mile. And it's absolutely, I mean, it's devastating to us as residents. And also, I want to ask the city council, first of all, Farmington Hills doesn't have enough green space as it is, in my opinion. And
thank you.
Like the other speakers have said, this is the last big chunk left in the entire city. And I also want to know,
thank you.
Like, do you ever consider the tremendous stress on the electrical grid? Because our power is already going out. Nobody thinks about the electrical grid or the traffic.
Thank you, Ms. Tomlinson.
Tons and tons more traffic. It's going to be crazy.
Kirk Bowman to be, thank you. Kirk Bowman to be followed by Audrey, I think, William.
Hi, Kirk Bowman. I'm on Folsom, right at the edge of this. My wife can't be here. She'd want me to agree with the first few people who went, so ditto to them. I mostly wanted to come up here because after the last session, I was looking a little bit closer to the code that's used for this, and it looked like 34-3.17.4.b stipulates that the groups of 4 unattached buildings must be equal to 20 feet between the houses in RA-3 districts. I believe they got a thing to allow them to go within 5 feet of the property line, but that does not, as far as I understand, allow them to put the houses closer than 20 feet apart unless they're corner to corner. So they would be off like this. But everything I've seen has showed them at 10 feet apart. And from what I was seeing, that would be about 28 occurrences. And if they would need to correct that, I would hope you catch it before they start bulldozing anything, because it would reduce the amount of houses by at least 4 on my count, which could be a large change to what is viable profit-wise. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Audrey William to be followed by Margaret Williams.
Hi, I'm Audrey Williams on Lundy. Congratulations, and thank you, veterans and current soldiers and cancer, people who are surviving cancer. I wanted to mention, I had a chance to walk the streets the other day. I live right there. The woods are right behind me. And I went on a rather rainy day instead of a sunny day, which I normally enjoy. I watched the river up against this map. They have this picture, really. You cannot get anything from this picture of the beautiful land that it is on. The river was running and flowing heavily. This was 3 days ago when it rained. I followed the river. I went through the woods. The river ran, you really can't, there's no justice to this little picture up here. It ran strong and hard. And I just want to mention that besides everything everyone else mentioned, there's so much wildlife beauty. I please beg of you to pause your decision for a minute. I also want to mention for the builders, it will take, I'm sure, 2 days for mass destruction of you to take down all those trees and cash them in for whatever money you do get. 2-3 days at max. And the profit that you receive will be the air that we lose. The emptiness that you left there will not be regarded by the owner, nor the people, maybe some of yourselves, who are not familiar, but we will remember. We will be reminded for years. The destruction, the noise, the dust, the water, everything, and most of all, Mother Nature. You won't be able to change that. Thank you.
Thank you. Margaret Williams, to be followed by Olivia Ludnick. Good evening.
I want to talk about something a little different. I lived in the community for 54 years, 54 wonderful years in a beautiful community. The last meeting that I came to on September 18th, upon arriving here, Mr. Michael Stewart was talking with the council people, walking up and down, laughing, having a good time. And I just want to say about what we're here for tonight. There's a room full of people. There wasn't as many last time, but I think we're all passionate about this, and I wonder what we're doing here. I don't think the council members really, I'm not going to say you aren't the same people. But the people that were here last time, this was the remarks. If you look at the tape at the end of the council meeting, the last 10 minutes, you'll see that Mr. Stephen Simpson was advising the man that was here before we were not to come up here and talk about talking about the council people like they're the worst people in the world. We never said that. He said that to that man, that that's what we were talking about. He also said that, let me see here. He was talking about, don't talk about the animals. He didn't want to hear about the salamanders. We were like wasting their time. We were here till 11 o'clock at night because we were passionate about what we're talking about. But it's like, this is a feeling that I got. You know, Mr. Michael Stewart's here, and he's going to get all these houses built. The city council and the city of Farmington Hills is going to benefit by the tax money that they're going to get from all these new houses. And it seemed like they already made up their mind before we even got here that we're not going to go anywhere with this. They're going to go ahead with the building. It doesn't matter, all this whole community, what we care about, but what they care about. And at the end, Danielle Ware, is that her name? Danielle Ware, one of the council people, also was talking about like we were a bunch of dummies because we don't know the master plan. She said this on tape, that they don't know the master plan. And we heard the master plan said at least 3 or 4 times that they didn't go to the council meetings. We don't come to all the council meetings. We don't listen to every meeting. We're coming here with the problems that we're presenting before you, hoping that we're going to get a fair listen, at least listen to us and take it to heart what we're saying. It's important. He can buy land anywhere. This isn't just any land, it's special land. And I just feel kind of a resentment in the fact that I feel like it's already preset that Mr. Stewart has bought a lot of property up, he's building houses, and I just think that this is for his benefit and the benefit of Farmington Hills and not taking us in consideration as a community.
Thank you. Olivia Ludnick, to be followed by Eric Schmidt. And that's the last one I have.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Ludwig. I'm one of the newer residents on Parker Street, having only lived there for 10 years. I am here with many longtime residents who border this proposed 32-home cluster development. We are asking you to deny this proposal because it is incompatible with the land, the neighborhood, and the city's own goals. First, the environmental concerns are serious and unavoidable. This land is heavily wooded wetlands that and many of us already struggle with water management. Our neighborhood relies on these mature trees for water absorption. We have multiple sump pumps running year-round just to keep our basements dry. Removing these hundreds of trees and disturbing wetland soil will cause significant water displacement, runoff, and erosion. If water backs up onto our properties in the future, can the city guarantee that the developer, not the taxpayers, will be held responsible? Not to mention protections for those potential future residents of those homes when they have water issues, which I'm sure everyone in our neighborhood can guarantee they're going to have water issues. Will those be disclosed to them when they buy their brand new home and it has issues with water? We do not trust this developer. As soon as their money is made, they will be long gone. His plan may have made it through the Planning Commission, but we still do not trust it. We also have protected and vulnerable wildlife species in this wetland. Relocating them is not realistic, and their habitat cannot be replaced. Second, there are major geological and infrastructure risks. This plan requires digging underneath the river, altering drainage patterns, and installing roads extremely close to existing homes. Has there been a traffic or infrastructure study to show how 33 additional homes will impact our already narrow roads and increased traffic? Without these studies, approval would be premature and unsafe. This proposal is not aligned with our character of the neighborhood. Our neighborhood is one of the few in Farmington Hills that has managed to maintain green space, nature, in a charming, peaceful atmosphere, and this development will destroy that. The cluster option is being stretched to maximize their profit and does not fit the surrounding community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric Schmidt to be followed by Paul Rusanowski, and that is the last card I have.
Good evening. Congratulations, Ms. Knoll, Mr. Bridges, Mayor Rich, Mr. Starkman on a well-run campaign and winning your elections. If you have not gotten up here and spoken yet, do it. I'm going to take up 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Come up here and say your piece, and that's how you will be heard and things will get done. I've been here 5 times, 6 times, and I do believe that whether or not you folks know it or not, you do have some allies up on the city council. But you need to come up here and speak and make sure that you are heard. I am going through the exact same thing you folks are going with over at 13 Mile. Somebody said that was done. It is not done. They got back in front of them. They're coming back in January. The water issues, the cutting down the trees, the density, all of this is exactly what we're dealing with as well. If you want to come and talk with me, I'm going to be here all night. I'm speaking later on, too, on some issues, and we can continue to team up and fight these types of projects. These are not what the city wants. It is quite clear that nobody in this room and anybody that I've spoken with thinks that these high-density projects are good ideas. I've told myself I'm going to stay out of politics. I'm probably not going to get involved. Mr. Dwyer's up in 2 years. Maybe we need to make some changes starting there, because I know for a fact how 2 people are going to vote on this tonight. So my words of encouragement are continue to fight, continue to come together, continue to make our voices heard. These types of projects are not what we want. There was a lot of talk about affordable housing or making things a little bit easier or building up Grand River. Those are the projects we should be focused on, not enriching people's pockets that already own 66 buildings, building 33 more, building 60 behind my house. We need to make a difference. We need to continue to show up. I'm so thankful that everybody came here tonight, and I hope that I can count on you folks to come up here in January. I don't see any more coming up. Come on, somebody come up here and sign up a sheet. You two gentlemen in the back, I know you want to talk. I know you guys want to say something, even if it's to come up here and say, I do not want this because it's going to flood my property. That's all they need to hear. Public speaking sucks, unless you're me, and then it's okay. But I encourage you to come on up here. You got 50 seconds to make sure that your voice is heard and that these folks understand that it's not just about your property. It's not just about where you live today. It's about this entire city and what we really want this city to look like as we continue to live here. I've only been here for 2 years, not even. 1 year. I've been here for 1 year, and I've been up here more times than I care to think about because this is the type of place where I wanted to come and live. I wanted to come and raise my kids in a diverse, wonderful area where I knew that I could count on people having my back. And I knew that I was going to live in a place where it was going to be a wonderful place for me to continue to grow, perhaps retire one day. But until these types of projects are eliminated from this city, we're going to continue to have to deal with this type of crap. I'm sorry, you know what? I'm sure the folks put in a lot of work, but these types of developments are lazy. They're not attractive. They are boring. Give us something that we can fight for and that we can agree with. Thank you for the time today.
Let's maintain decorum, please. Paul Rosanowski to be followed by Andrew Williams.
Hi, Paul Richanowski. My company's been wiring new construction homes since '93. I bought my house, right around the same time. I never thought these woods could be developed. With the river, the access, the wetlands, I never fathomed it would come to this, but here we are. I've got builders that buy properties. I got one that just bought one in Plymouth Township here about, a year and a half ago. 15 lots he was going to develop on this thing. They let him do one, and they said, that's it. So, you guys can turn these guys down. It's been done. It's been done many a times. I know it's unfortunate for these guys. If I were them, I'd be in Naples right now working on my handicap. I wouldn't be here. So, my house is going to butt right up to this pond that they're going to put in here. It's just going to collect mosquitoes. Real nice addition to my property value. Not happy about that. This poor lady who's got 20 feet, not from her property line, 20 feet to her house. I don't care if you put in a few trees, that's going to do nothing. You could put up a 12-foot wall, and she's still going to hear traffic. That's unacceptable. I would never live with that. So, you guys got to do the right thing here. Make it a park, make it anything but homes. This should never have been developed. It wasn't developed, 55, whatever years ago when the neighborhoods went in. There was a reason for it. Keep it undeveloped. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. John Salmonson to be followed by Michael Emerly. I'm sorry. Andrew Williams, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Andrew Williams first.
Andrew Williams here, hey.
Thank you.
Bill, I remember you, Bill Dreyer, back when you were police chief here, and we lunched at Warren for a while, and Valerie, I think I worked on a campaign for yours way back in the day. I grew up on Parker Street and voted for some of y'all, maybe not all of y'all, but some of y'all. But anyways, I just have, I know we can't have a back and forth, but I have rhetorical questions for the council. I'd like to ask, if you saw something like this, they were going to put in your backyard, maybe you had a, kind of a woodsy area in your backyard, how would you take that if that was going to happen to you? That's my first rhetorical question. My next rhetorical question is, it sounds like they had a herpetologist look at the site to save all the lizards. Herpetologists, they work with lizards, I guess, right? I'm just wondering if they looked into any other animals that were back there. Was it just the herpetologist, or? no interaction here. And I guess my third rhetorical question is, how much money was donated to the fund? I know there's one person that can only do $1,200 towards a campaign. I just wonder how much family, how many relatives and things like that might have been associated with it, because if there was none, then that's fine. If there was, that's another story. But anyways, I just want to know, like, just to maybe by a show of hands, how many people in here are against this
So,
trailer park?
Sir, this is to address council, please.
Okay. Imagine if I were to ask a question of how many people are opposed to this trailer park, and raise your hands, but I can't say that, so hypothetically speaking, how many people? Anyways, that's all I got. I had nothing. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. And my first chance to be up here. Voted for some of y'all, and others I did not, but have a good rest of the meeting.
Thank you. John Selmanson, to be followed by Michael Emmerling.
Good evening. I'd like to say that I'm right along with most of the people here with septic pump running constantly. I'm at the corner of Parker and Colfax at the south end of this development here. Everything runs downhill that way. It doesn't even show an accurate view of where the river's going to be, where that road's supposed to be coming out. There's a drainage ditch that floods out. Most of the time you can't go north on Parker in the spring. It's so wet. My neighbors right next door to me have sold their house 3 times, but it's in limbo right now because they're in the middle of putting in an engineered field. The neighbors right past them have already done it. The neighbor behind me has already done it. I'd like to know how many times in that neighborhood, how many fields have failed since they put the Riverwalk in and the development over at the old site of the school. I mean, you're just flooding the neighborhood from one to the next to the next. It's like the Titanic. Each house is having to go put an engineered field in. I mean, do we have any recourse going back to you for money that it's a $30,000, $40,000 hit to put an engineered field in? People can't sell their houses. They have to add that onto the prices. And it's caused by jamming houses like that in that don't fit. I mean, you should take 10 houses in that area. Most of us would probably be okay with that, not 30. That's just way too many houses in that small area. Too much runoff, and that retention pond is going to be a joke. It's already, you can't walk through that neighborhood. If you ever try walking in back in there, you're up to your ankles in mud now. So I don't know what you're going to do with the water. Like somebody else suggested, get a third party in, have another outside look at it, because I don't believe what's going on here, and I think you should recluse yourself from your vote, seeing as you took money from during your campaign. So thank you.
Thank you. Michael Emmerling, to be followed by Roger Groveth, I think it is.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak. This is the first meeting that I've been to, and I'm accompanied by my wife. We live on Lundy Street. So first of all, I am not personally opposed of developers developing and getting as rich as they possibly can. I really have no problem with that. America is the land of opportunity. However, it seems very off, just all things considered, to build on this piece of land. Now, personally, I like solutions. Everybody can complain about anything, and they do. I like solutions. I thought I heard something to the effect with one of the other people that spoke of raising grant money to pay the developers a handsome price for their property and turning it into a type of nature park. I think that would be beautiful. I think that would add so much value to the city, to our neighborhood, and I don't think anybody's hands would get dirty. And I think the developers would have a profit, because I'm certain they would get more than what they paid for it, to be frank. You know, thoughts also come to my mind, like, what about other areas? I was on a board for a nonprofit urban farming that was located in Highland Park. Well, we got chased out by the drug dealers, and the police told us we couldn't come back because they couldn't protect us. There is tons of land down there, and people need homes. Why not there? Why does it have to be jammed into this little green space that's apparently, from what I'm hearing, one of the last green spaces in our city? I mean, I'm a devout Catholic, and, you know, my faith instructs me to steward carefully the land, not to rape it and abuse it for a buck. And that appears to be what's more in line in this situation. I think anyone from a Judeo-Christian perspective, worldview, or faith tradition would be compelled to take concern with this. This, even from a non-believing perspective, we are continuing to eat up the environment for profit, especially when there are plenty of places in southeast Michigan where these developers would be more than welcome to come in and make something really beautiful for the community that desperately needs that housing. So I guess with that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you. Roger Grove to be followed by Robert Stallings.
Hello, all.
Good evening.
I live upstream on power. I feel for all the people on Lundy and Parker for a financial burden. They're all going to have to put in engineered septic fields. That's just, it's going to happen. It's a fact. They punch all those holes in the ground. That water's got to go somewhere. And I don't see how they can engineer enough draining to remove that water properly. If any of you have been driven up and down Folsom Road last March, April, or May, that whole frontage on Folsom Road was underwater, at least 8 to 12 inches underwater. Perfectly visible when the leaves are off the trees. Back to the other development they did, Riverwalk, I believe it was the first one, the end of Cadillac. They ruined that area. And people are having problems, I've heard, with their foundations. Now the builder only has to warranty his work for 1 year. What's going to happen 15, 20 years down the road when those basements start collapsing from hydrostatic pressure? Also, we have a problem on Orchard Lake Road where occasionally they have to block off, close the road for the height of the water because everything flows that way. What do you think this is going to do to that? It's not going to make it better. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Robert Stallings to be followed by Mark Williams.
I'm Robert Stallings. I've lived on Lundy for 45 years. Raised my family. My backyard is flooded always. You can't cut half of it till middle of June. Looking at this, 3 homes are going to be in my backyard. I have a lot and a half. I'm going to be looking at 3 towering homes. Been there 45 years, raised my family. What he's talking about, the water going over Orchard Lake Road, that's the same river that goes through from Parker. You can't even go down Parker mid-spring. It's flooded. That water is going to run off into every one of our yards. What about when they start throwing down their fertilizer, pesticides? Is it going to kill our puppies? Flooding into our backyards? None of us want that. I totally oppose this. This is crazy. Beautiful park would be perfect there for Farmington Hills. And I don't ever speak publicly. So please take us into consideration. This is just wrong, totally wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Stallings. Mark Williams to be followed by Cynthia Ludwig.
Hi there, folks. I grew up on Parker Street down at the northwest corner there. So I got a couple things I'm going to speak of quickly. One of them is growing up there and then growing up where I live now. Living where I live now is over on Gill Road, where there's another development going through there from 9 Mile all the way through where they just ripped it out. So when I grew up on this area right here, I could tell you from Folsom, halfway to the middle right there, that's all wetlands back there. I ran through there and Spent my childhood in them woods. And it's all wet there from Parker, both sides Lundy. The reason this property was, it was bought many times in the 50 years that I know of. It was bought, people bought it, and then they found out it didn't perk. They couldn't develop it because Parker and Lundy are higher than the woods section almost. And in the woods section, it's wetlands all the way up and halfway in the middle of it there in the middle. And then that backside is actually nice and dry, and we used to ride bikes back there and motorbikes and enjoy the wildlife, lots of rabbits and pheasants and you name it, things you didn't see anywhere else you could see there. Parker is still a dirt road going over there to Colfax. And it's what's happening is you already got 99% of the city built up. And these dollars, these tax dollars are going to be a drop in the bucket compared to what's being taken away here. People are talking about these trees. I walk back there now and I see the same trees 50 that were there 50 years ago that were this big, and they're now this big and they're still there. It's like you don't see trees that are free to grow like that. I remember riding a bike and there's a beehive in the middle of them and the bees were chasing me on my motorcycle going through there. All kinds of crazy stuff, field mice, I mean, people, things that most people don't even care about, but it's just, if 99% of this city's already built up, why can't we save this piece? And I know for a fact that other people have bought that and it didn't work out for them. I don't understand why all of a sudden it's working out. It's been there for a long time and there's not much of it left. And it makes me sad to see it go. It would probably make a nice little park. If you go to like Royal Oak, they have more parks than anywhere. It's a beautiful place. You can't go around the corner without seeing a little park somewhere. It doesn't have to be a big park, or it just needs to be a little special place where somebody can get away and get back to nature. But pretty soon there's not going to be any nature left, and this is one of the last opportunities we have, and I feel like I'm wasting my breath up here. All right, it's probably too late.
Thank you. Cynthia Ludwig.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Ludwig, and I grew up on Parker. I lived on Osmus. My speech just disappeared. My daughter wrote it to help me with it, but really, Farmington's, here, give me it back. The development contradicts the city's own priorities. Farmington Hills already has less green space, fewer parks than surrounding cities. Cutting down the established wetlands further widens that gap. There are other areas that are better suited for this type of development. Finally, consider the long-term consequences for the community. Many neighbors have lived here for decades. This development threatens the property values, the neighborhood stability, and the environmental safety. Several residents, including my own family, have experienced high likelihood of flooding, and we're just moving out of Farmington. You people have lost your soul. I can't even talk.
Thank you. Okay, that was all for our public hearings, so I have no more cards. The public hearing is now closed. Council, back to you. Ms. Null.
Sure, I'll start it out. One of my big concerns is the road. And the fact that this road is going to basically go through right in between two homes. And it's going to empty out onto a dirt road and put more traffic on this dirt road. Additionally, the stream runs right by there. I walked and visited this area, and I know that it's very low there, and it gets very wet. And so I do not think that that is a good design, putting a road through there. I know that the reason it was put in is because our fire department likes to have 2 points of ingress egress, fire and police, specifically fire, in case of an emergency. In case one of the entrances is blocked with a down power line or tree or whatever, accident, whatever the situation may be, they like to have 2 ingress egress. And I do understand that. And I think that definitely works when you're building a very large subdivision where you have the ability to put in multiple ingress egress off of a variety of different roads. I think it works when you're putting in a subdivision which can be made oval or circular in design, but it does not work in this case. We have numerous other subdivisions in this city that were designed without more than 1 ingress egress. It's basically the way I look at this is, if possible, put in 2 ingress egress. But it's not necessarily what I would say a mandate. And in this case, it doesn't work, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a detriment to the existing neighborhood. Many of these homes have been here for years. We've heard from residents who have been here 30, 40 years. You know, there's never any expectation when you have vacant land behind you that it's not going to be developed unless you're the owner of it. You never know what some other owner is going to do, especially if it's zoned for residential. But at the same time, even though, you know, you may not own the land, you can't necessarily prevent someone who owns it from exercising their private property rights, just like we can't necessarily, the city can't always keep you from maybe building on your property, putting an addition on your home, or adding onto your garage, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I think you do have an expectation that if the property behind you, near you, is developed, that it be similar in character to what you have. And I do not believe that this is similar in character. Just look at the map. You have, in many cases, 2 lots to your 1 lot, or to the existing neighbor's 1 lot. So that's double the homes. When you're going to look out your backyard, you're not going to see 1 home. You're going to see 2 in most of these cases. Someplace, you're right, I heard that. Sometimes there's 3. So I don't think that's similar in character to this neighborhood. So those are my thoughts. I don't like it for the character. I don't think it's in keeping. And also, I have a real problem. I just can't support this proposal with this road coming out, emptying out onto a dirt road and creating more traffic on a dirt road that's often flooded, and putting a road literally right next to someone else's home.
Please don't make me excuse you from the meeting. Okay, Mr. Aldred.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just to make a comment that I think I understand the goal here of trying to use a cluster development to get multiple houses in so that you can then make the argument of preserving some of the space. But I agree with Councilmember Knoll in terms of the road exits onto Parker. I have concerns for similar reasons. Where it empties out clearly is across the road from where there's a wetland area, and there's also a lot of marsh area across the road. I guess I have a question for for Giffords-Webster on this. Do we have any data on how often that road floods? I'm hearing here from the residents it's regularly for large periods of time during the year. From what I can tell, this road is basically coming out right where the road floods, which doesn't seem to make much sense to me.
I don't have any data on that. I was just kind of exchanging glances with your public services and engineering folks, and I'm getting head shakes.
You don't have the data for that? No. Okay. Well, from what I can hear, again, anecdotally, maybe that's one source of information that we have, that it floods regularly. And again, from the hydric soils, that whole area is basically subject to regular flooding, from what I can tell. It could be susceptible to flooding because of the geology. And as I understand it, then the proponent is a two-story buildings that you're putting in these homes? Okay, because there wasn't any renderings of the drawings in our packet.
One story and some two-story. Some ranches and two-story.
There's a combination of one and two-story? Okay, because there was no images in our packet. I was looking at what the grounds would be to potentially deny this development, and the ordinance, as written, says that if the Planning Commission, or in this case, City Council, is not satisfied the proposal meets the letter and spirit of this chapter, or finds that approval of the proposal would be detrimental to existing development in the general area and should not be approved, it shall record the reasons. And again, similar to Councilmember Knoll, I think that development, as it goes in that cluster, would be out of keeping with the rest of